This is the Kubernetes SIG network meeting for March 31st, 2022. Forgot to ask, Richard or Tim, do you have any triage lined up?
I have it up if we want to look at it.
Cool. That looks more like a cockpit also, but you're facing the wrong way.
Well, what can you do? I mean, I could turn around if you prefer. It'd probably be a nicer recording. Let me share a window, and the one is called delay. Make sure I get the right one. Yes. Where you can see that? Yes. All right. So we have a short list today. Went through them before. Thanks everyone who joins in that process. It sounds like starting up kube proxy on Windows is exceedingly slow, something half a minute per service. Dizzy Dan's eyes are rolling. I had the same reaction. I have no context or expertise here. Is anybody who has the Windows side of things on mind wants to be assigned this?
I know who we should assign it to. So
tell me.
James Stravant. It's STU or ST. Yes, that guy. Yeah, just assign it on, and I'll ping them.
Okay.
Make sure they know.
It would be nice to know, like, holy cow, that's wrong, or yep, that's what we expect to happen. Sorry.
The problem is, I'm just like you. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sure.
Wait, are you saying that Microsofters don't all code Windows?
I missed, the line to the install machine where they put a plug in your head and install Windows. I missed that line, so I only do that.
You were sick that day.
This one, kube proxy crash loop, looks like it's a crash in IPVS mode. Antonio, it wasn't clear. Are you saying that the getting rid of the port opener code fixes the bug, or that it causes it?
That's what happened. The port opener was sending an event and it was near and crashing.
Okay, so the PR, is this the PR then is already in progress?
I didn't follow up, but this is from Anish, so I think that they will follow up and merge it. I'm sure that maybe it's better to assign to you because you have approvals.
I mean, I can approve it. I just don't. It wasn't clear to me that this is the fix to this problem.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. All right. Well, then I'll go ahead and...
Because there is no code that panic when you. I mean, the code that panic was inside the port open.
Okay. Cool. Well, thankfully that is gone. All right. I'll click through on that after. Listening on UDP drops everything except the first packet. Antonio's already on it.
Yeah, but I wanted to, Dan Winship is here and other people, like maybe they know. Do anybody has experience with this state in contract that UDP only sees one way?
I've seen it. I don't know significantly what it means. I think it has a different, like, there's a bunch of parameters for timeout for UDP, and it's different depending on which state it's in, right?
Yeah, no, but I mean, if they have some experience with adding rules for this state that you only have one direction. So this entity is never going to be established, and it's because it's expected to not be established. So they send the sys block, and it's one way only. So the entry is going to be always like this and reply.
Right.
And I was wondering if somebody had this use case before.
So if it's true one way only, I mean, I assume that address of the pod is being used for other communication, right? So we don't have some flooding problems and stuff like that. I mean, there must be some communication to the IP from something in Kubernetes.
So we should allow it. No?
So if it's truly one way, then there is no, I mean,
Yeah.
Then the layer 2 will have to flood the packet. You will not know.
It's coming. It's not going out. It's coming. Well, I will add an E2E and see what happens. I mean,
Okay.
this is something to.
But Antonio, wouldn't some of the test cases in the end-to-end freak out if just the first packet arrived in the UDP streams?
No. The thing is, we always test with services that reply. So the contract.
No. Okay. I made tests that's just one way actually.
That's
to my tests to do the capping, but I'll have to check how many packets I send. Maybe I just send one.
Okay,
And-
that's okay. Then I found the person. I knew that somebody here should be doing that.
Yeah. So.
But the other part of this was that it required the policy to be drop, not allow, right? And most of the time we do testing with allow.
I think I have a good excuse for not getting engaged. I'm having a hip replacement next Friday, so I don't dare to say that I'm going to look at anything right now.
Okay.
Don't worry. This is not going to be for this release.
It should be fairly straightforward.
Sorry, Lars, you're saying something?
Yeah, when I set the filter forwarding policy to drop, no communication at all works. Not TCP, not UDP, not anything.
No.
I don't know if something wrong with my system or if how can it work, because I have traffic entering on one node, and that is fine. I can set whatever I want, but the pod is on another node, and if I set drop on that node, it will not be forwarded to the pod, not even the SYN for TCP.
Yeah, we have in the forward we have rules that match on the contract state, and we have one accept for new. So all the SYN packets should be accepted.
Yeah, I saw your comment also, and you directed to the kube services chain, but in my system the kube services chain is empty. At least
I understand. Well, but I mean that's something that the people that configure that should take into account. If they want to forward things that are not Kubernetes, they need to have the rules for those things that are not Kubernetes. I mean, you are doing that on purpose. You are setting a drop.
Yeah, I think that the point is what I was making before, right? If we want to let kube proxy work with policy drop, we have to add an allow rule for every kube service, for every service IP port.
Why? We match on the state.
We match on new when we send it to kube services, but if there's no, oh, no, sorry, that's external services.
Right.
Here. Right? But there's
Right.
nothing in kube services that says allow. And at the end of the day, the forward policy is dropped. So it falls out the bottom and gets dropped. That's what I would expect to happen.
No, why? Okay, the thing is, you enter in the node, you go to forward, you do the DNAT because you match a service, and then you are established. And when you come back, you
The DNAT doesn't you enter the NAT table, you get assigned a DNAT, but then you go into the filter table and you enter the forward chain.
No. You don't
rerouting
go.
happens before filter.
You don't go twice through the forward.
No, there's no forward chain in NAT. There's only forward in filter. So NAT, you go through NAT pre-routing, right? And then you go through filter forward,
right?
Which has a policy of drop, so you'll never make it to NAT post.
No. But you have a policy of you go to the kube services.
But there's nothing in kube services. There's nothing in there that says allow.
Yeah, but that's the thing is, if you don't have kube services, it's not a Kubernetes problem. It's a system problem.
You have kube services. There's no rule in kube services that says -j except on a random thing. So if your default policy is drop, then every service will be recognized but still dropped.
Because we never emit those rules.
So what I want to say is, if you have services, this is going to work. If you don't have services and you set policy drop, it's your decision.
Well,
I mean,
why do you say it works if you have services, given that nothing ever calls -j except?
Because then the service is going to create a connection and it's going to be established. And
No, it'll be dropped. Sorry, let's be clear. There's two kube services chains. There's one in the NAT table and there's one in the filter table. Right. So we go through NAT pre-routing, which will jump to kube services, which will match on destination IP, right?
Yes,
and it'll apply the
yes.
DNAT, and then it'll go to filter forward, which will jump to kube services and find nothing, and then it will get dropped.
Oh, now I understand. Okay, I was mixing the tables. Okay, you're talking about the firewall table. Okay, I will test it because this is interesting.
And you know, we could make this work by emitting JAllow rules for every service and every port, but that would be a lot of, well, not a lot, but significant number of new rules.
We have plenty of rules.
We have no shortage of. We have no shortage of them.
Sorry, I didn't get it.
Could I add something?
Yeah.
The discussion of DNAT is where the packets enter, but I have problems where the packets end up in the node that doesn't do the DNAT. It just receives something because it's the same thing, but more clear because you have no traversing in DNAT tables at all. You just get the packet that should be routed to a pod, but you have forward drop and it just drops.
But I think the answer here is Kubernetes does not support setting the default policy on any of your chains to drop. Well, maybe input, but
now, just by curiosity, I'm going to test it and I'm going to document it because this is just super confusing.
I think that is the real answer. Is like turning it on to setting it to drop means you have to add rules for every pod in the allow chain, right? See what Docker did in that. Like it's a problem. Okay. Anyway, this is on Antonio. This issue. Let me know if you want cover on it. Next. So we've got two issues that are opened that are discussing this destination versus source model and how we route stuff. So in the last days of code freeze between Dan and Andrew and I, we basically rewrote that entire section of logic in kubeproxy. I think, at least in the IP tables mode, I haven't confirmed in IPVS mode. I think we've now implemented the destination model. Is that right, Dan?
yes.
And it will work with the special case.
I think we can close my PR, but I'm not sure about this one because this was more about SCTP and
yes, this is about SCTP. So we need to figure out whether we should be flushing that. But I think we can also close this one.
Yes, I think so.
All right, I'll look at it afterwards.
We're declaring this not a bug.
Right. Well, actually, it'll work now because it'll jump to the external chain.
No, because he's talking about sending to a node port on another node.
Oh, okay. I missed that part. All right. So I'll revisit this one and see if we can close it. And there was another one.
Before closing, we need an E2E because otherwise, we are going to regress for sure.
No. I mean, we already have testing of that. It's just that.
Then okay.
He was suggesting the existing behavior was wrong, and we were deciding no, it is not.
Right. And sorry, there's this one also, which isn't for triage, but can we close this now? Or should we write a doc? on this?
Scroll down to the bottom there. Oh, actually, I do still have to update the docs. I started updating the API docs and so I'll submit a PR.
Okay. So this is the follow-up here is docs. Awesome.
Yep.
Cool. That's all the issues that we had for triage. If it's cool, let me stop share. And if it's okay, I would like to run through the KEP board and see what we can move between columns, because that's kind of a celebration. Let's pick another window.
Remember that the host IPs was Robert.
Yes, I know. Give me 1 second.
And one day you can explain in detail in 30 minutes or something what is the logic there, because I didn't understand the pod IPs and I didn't understand the problem yet.
What is the logic for why we copy them to each other, or
no, why it fails? I mean, where is the problem? I know that
the problem is deep down in kubelet, which reads from the API server an object that has host IPs set, and then it rebuilds status and doesn't set host IPs. And so it starts throwing errors that the object in the cache doesn't match the object that it's trying to write.
And so the kubelet reads the object with host IPs, and then it writes again without host IPs and keeps on.
That's right. That's right. So we should not be setting this.
Is this a new bug?
Yeah.
This is why the host IPs downward API bug, that one got, or that PR got reverted because it was a huge blow up.
I want to show you the performance impact. Let me try to find the link, because it was impressive what this thing could do to Rust.
Wojciech said it was an easy one. It only took them a half hour to find.
Yeah. And there is a lot of people checking the CI in the mornings. So it's impressive. There are a group of people, CI, Signal, or something that is monitoring the jobs, and they got it quickly.
So I'm guessing that one's just missed the boat entirely, and we'll have to push it to 25.
I don't think that you get an exception with that history.
Okay, well, let's look at this then. Let's start from the current. So did anything graduate and get the gate removed? I don't think so, right? Nothing 24, great. Things that moved from beta to GA, anything? Service type, load balancer class? Andrew, did that move? Is Andrew here?
Rob Scott did.
I think it did, right?
Yeah, something, or there was something that was supposed to graduate before and he graduated.
That was topology. It did graduate to beta last cycle, but it wasn't default on until this cycle.
But the load balancer class, did that graduate?
Yeah, I'm
That
not sure.
Listed as GA in 124 in kubefeatures.go.
I was just going to look at that. Thank you. Hooray, everybody clap. Something graduated. All right, nothing else moved from beta to GA, right? All right. What moved from alpha to beta? Oh, I already moved this one. I started doing this morning, and then I thought, oh, I should do it on the call. Antonio's PR to reserve static ranges for, or reserve IPs for static allocations went alpha. Yay. Network policy status also got merged, right, Ricardo? Yes?
Right.
All right, congratulations.
Yeah, thanks. That's fun.
And proxy terminating endpoints, it was already alpha. We left it alpha, right, Andrew? But now it applies to both internal and external. And didn't touch this. Mixed protocols.
That one's, I just looked at that one. That's on me. Apparently there was a PR I needed to put in. I just have to go figure out what it is. I guess I was focused on docs and I wasn't focused on, even though there's no code changes, I guess we have to go change it somewhere to say beta instead of alpha. So they dropped it out of the milestone because I didn't do that, and I need to figure out exactly what code change has to be made.
Okay,
I'll file an exception. I just need to figure out what's wrong.
All right, I milestoned it for 24. When you get that, you can move it to the beta column, or you can tell me and I'll do it.
Yeah.
Sorry
about that. I didn't notice because GitHub notifications.
It happens. gRPC, did that move forward? Is Bowie or somebody here?
I remember this guy from Signal, Sergey. I think that he graduated it.
Did he? Dan, if you've got Cube features open, can you search for that one?
What gate?
gRPC, something gRPC.
gRPC container probe?
Yep.
Yeah.
Beta and 124.
Boom. All right. And things that moved into alpha this cycle. Admin network policy, well, that's out of tree, so that got postponed.
Yeah, it got dropped. The tag got dropped from that issue. I commented on the issue, and they still dropped it, but I think that makes sense, right?
It's not in the release, right? So
right.
My attention will turn to that shortly.
I know, it's all good. Dan has been helping, and Casey gave a good review, so we got some reviews, and we're eagerly awaiting your point of view.
Oh boy. All right. What else? Node IPAM to support multiple cluster siders. So the API part of this went in, but not the implementation part of it. And ordinarily we wouldn't do that, but Antonio suggested, and he was right, we can build the external implementation for this and prove that out with the API built in. So I'm going to move that into alpha because it is. Congratulations to the folks who worked on that. No all ports. Host IPs got bounced, and that's still up for discussion. None of these made changes. And, we got a whole bunch of new ones. Okay, these aren't new. We just haven't fully evaluated them. All right, that's it, I think, for all the ones that moved. Did I miss any?
Can you move cleaning up IP tables chain ownership into pre-alpha? Because we have actually started doing that now with the Cube IP tables hint.
All right. Yes, good point. Anything else?
And the dual stack API server, Dan, that's for the next release.
Yeah, I need to like. Tim, what are your thoughts on approving code in the API server? Because the API server team is kind of like not paying attention to my peers.
I'll do it if I have to, but I can also shake the tree from the other side. Okay. I mean, you can shake David's, right? And I can shake Daniel.
I tried. I think everyone was busy, so I'll try to make more progress. Like once we're past this cycle and everyone has more free time.
Okay, let's handshake, pinky swear that this one goes in 25.
Yeah, it would be good because people start to report things with the API server not being able to listen on those stuff.
Yep.
I have just added a comment that the metadata.name thing that we added for namespace selector, there is no feature gate on that, so probably you can just move away.
Oh, let me see.
At least I couldn't find the feature gate. I don't remember we actually gated that thing.
Okay, moved. Thank you.
Thanks.
Cool. I will turn the floor back over to Casey.
There's nothing else on the agenda unless Bridget wanted to move her item back to this week.
I could. I do have to leave in about 15 minutes, and I wanted to make sure that there was enough time to do everything on the board. But this one was just from last time. basically, I want to make sure, and I know it's not getting, obviously it's not getting into this Kubernetes release, but I want to make sure that everyone gets the chance to comment on this, just because this is one from the cloud provider meeting that they were like, SIG network should weigh in on this. Yeah. And I'm not sure if everybody has gotten a chance to look at it yet, so.
I haven't looked at it in depth myself. If other people have, I'm happy to discuss.
This is not the one that is cloud provider. I mean, this is cloud provider.
Sorry. So this is the one that after we discussed it in cloud provider, then the question was like, oh, should we be talking about this? You know, like this is, I think Andrew Sycam said, maybe we should discuss this in SIG network if it touches any of the things that they're discussing. And if we think it does not, then that's fine. But I wanted to make sure we had a chance to weigh in on it. This route controller updating routes when the node IPs change.
So this is related to all the node addresses and all the things.
Yeah, node IPs changing is such a mess.
Okay, I got it. Then I was wrong.
Yeah, so Andrew Sycam said, you know, this is touches that wider discussion we're having in SIG network. Instead of it getting decided over here in cloud provider, you should really bring it there.
He's probably right. I haven't read it. We probably ought to just make a statement of we do support node IPs changing, and anything that looks at node IP should be updated. And we've caught a bunch of them already, but I don't think we've made a concerted effort to find all those places.
Were there any other topics that people wanted to talk about?
I have one question that I wanted to ask the group, see if anybody knows the answer to. Because I raised this in one of the code reviews, but I could not for the life of me find an answer on the internet. IP tables has counters for every chain, but for non-built-in change, for any user-defined chain, the counters are always 0, as far as I can tell. It has counters per rule and counters per chain. The counters per rule are actually incremented. The counter for the chain, if you say IP table save, well, it always shows 0, 0. And we have code, not a ton of code, but a little bit of code spattered throughout the code base that if we see that that we're declaring a chain that already existed, we'll go read it from the old one so we can preserve the counters, but they're always 0. So the question I had is, am I just doing it wrong? Am I not looking in the right place, or are they actually always 0? I can't find an answer anywhere.
It's possible that this is something that changed between IP tables legacy and IP tables NFT. So maybe it used to work and now it silently doesn't.
I don't know if it ever used to work, because I remember looking at it and filing an earmark in my brain of like, I should go figure out how to make these counters work. And I spent time on it and looking at your code review, and I could not find an answer anywhere on the internet that showed me how to do it, or that told me whether it does or doesn't work. I guess the short answer is nobody here knows for sure. Maybe I'll have to go spelunk through the kernel and figure out.
Or open a bug in the Baxilla in netfilter. In the netfilter Baxilla. And I can ping one of the kernels.
Okay, I'll take a note and I'll do that. Because if it's always 0 and that's fine, then we can just delete, 20 lines of code throughout kubeproxy. Not a ton, but I'm on a deleting kick right now. Hey, anybody who's ever looked at the IP tables kube proxy code in the past should go look at it again. After Dan got through like bringing out the real meat of it, and then we shaved off a bunch of crap, and like it reads much better now, I think. I'm actually very proud of the result of those PRs together. It looks pretty darn good.
It's just that you spend like 1 week changing names to the rules. Traffic policy, traffic policy with external with.
You didn't have to do all those rebases. I kept having to rebase that whole stack of commits. Anyway, it got merged, so I'm happy. Now, Dan, I guess we're going to follow up with your tests, PR.
Yeah, I did everything except the writing functions to parse the regular expressions thing, because like each time I thought about it, like, if we're going to do this, like it's not at all specific to the unit tests. We would just want to have like a general, like, we would want to be doing this everywhere, right?
You're just going to bust out a Lex grammar for it, and then we'll be all right. Is there a Lex for Go?
I can still like make more changes there, but I added variables so that it's not you doing just match or bracket one. Stuff like that. So if you still don't like it, I can change it more.
I've got it open here. I've got a bunch of meetings today and tomorrow, but I'll get back to it next week. Okay, I'm done. I have nothing else to add.
Cool. In that case, I think we get a bunch of time back.
All right.
See you all next time.
Thank you.